Hello everyone, thank you for listening to the very first ever live episode of Dan Tony Sports. My name is Dan Snyder. Tonight I'm joined by Tony Casper, Dan Beebe, and Chuckles. Unfortunately, Dan O'Shea cannot be here with us tonight as he is absolutely swamped. Now guys, I just want to know, how are you all doing tonight on our first night of live?
Doing good.
Doing pretty good.
Doing great. We're going live!
Going live. That's great to hear. All right, so we got a lot of things that we're going to be talking about tonight. Major League Baseball and college football. It's only two topics, but we got a lot of stuff to discuss, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun. So we're going to open the show, as we always do, with our pigskin poetry. This one is titled, The Original Jamarcus Russell. At 48 years old, Marinovich is back. But will he survive even just one more sack? He last left football on a sour note, but he won't be a pro, he'll be a coyote. It's a developmental team for which he used to coach. It's the starting quarterback job that he's looking to poach. At nearly 50, this can't end well. He could get seriously hurt, but only time will tell. One of the worst draft picks to ever go down. Was he the bigger bust, or is it Kwame Brown?
That's a good question. So wait, where is he playing?
He currently, I don't know if he currently coaches. He coached a team called the Coyotes, a developmental league team, and now he's trying to win their starting quarterback job.
I didn't know that there was a developmental football league.
Yeah, it's not associated with the NFL. It's like, remember how there was like the World Football League and then the USFL?
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's been copycat leagues before. I mean, the NFL has only endorsed a few. They did NFL Europe for a while, I believe, was one of their developmental leagues that didn't succeed very well.
Yeah, NFL Europe was great. It was pretty much all German teams except for two in France, but they were much, much more entertaining from the videos that I had seen in the Canadian Football League, and I love Canadian football. So we're going to put that on the back burner, talk about Canadian football some other time maybe. We're going to talk about Major League Baseball right now. First thing we're going to discuss, what happened last night, the Home Run Derby. Now, I just want to go around really quickly. I thought Giancarlo Stanton was going to win it. Tony, who do you think was going to win?
I had my money on Judge. I thought my dark horse was Bellinger. So Bellinger did advance. After seeing Judge in the first round, there was way too much. I mean, the man's a freak. I don't know a better way to put it. I mean, that's just how he is. I thought it was going to be Judge the way he swings, and I certainly wasn't wrong based on what I saw last night.
No, absolutely not. No, his swing is one of the prettiest swings I've ever seen. And I don't mean that to sound kind of weird or anything, like, mocking him.
No, it's smooth. It looks like he does it with no effort.
It looks a lot like a Griffey swing without Griffey's bat. Griffey's bat used to hit the ground, but the way they let off with one hand and come around, his, Judge's only goes halfway and doesn't hit the ground, but it looks very similar, and both of them are very smooth.
Tony, you're a golf fanatic. Do you remember, obviously I'm sure you remember, Tiger Woods and his effortless-looking swings?
Yeah.
He looks like what Tiger Woods was doing in golf, but with a baseball bat.
That's a good comparison, because it just seems like it's natural for Judge to be doing it. And if you needed any indication of how raw power and just sheer size are going to translate into the MLB, I mean, Stanton made that pretty clear last year, but Judge has far and away. I think we're starting to see a trend of bigger guys are going to be playing in the MLB.
Bigger athletic guys, because you got Mike Trout.
Yeah.
You've got Giancarlo Stanton. You got Aaron Judge. And all three are great hitters. All three are power hitters, but all three play defense really well. Mm. So it's a trend that I like to see personally as a guy who likes defense and offense. But Aaron Judge obviously won. Chuckles, who did you think was going to win?
Aaron Judge. My sleeper, if I had one, which I didn't think anyone was going to have a chance, was Gary Sanchez. I was kind of hoping for a Yankee final, but last night's show was something that I didn't expect. I have always watched the home run derbies, and at some point I found them slightly getting boring and just being more interested in who was competing. and this was exciting, and it was exciting television too.
Yeah, it definitely was. I didn't catch the whole thing, but that Gary Sanchez, Miguel Sano, that was a great matchup.
Sano has power, and you hear about him and you see highlights and you think that he's impressive, but he really made a name for himself last night.
He's a big boy too.
Yeah.
And I also, the other thing I wanted to add to it is this idea of these bigger guys coming into playing baseball. I think it's actually good for the sport in general. I mean, we're seeing more athletic, bigger, stronger guys, and it's going to improve the competition the more we see it.
No, you're absolutely right. We're not seeing the big guys. Sorry to cut you off, Chuckles, but previously the big guys were like Mark McGwire, who can't play, who can't run. Barry Bonds, who went from 80 pounds to 280 pounds in a matter of like 2 seasons. So
Giambi.
Yeah, both of the Giambis. David Ortiz, who is in a different situation because he wasn't small.
No.
Trying not to call him fat, but we got to call a spade. He was a fat guy, and he hit for power, and he didn't play defense as well until he started losing the weight toward the end of his career. Mm-hmm. But no, definitely this is the era of the big guy. If Vince McMahon were a baseball guy, this would be his baseball era.
And Mark McGwire did make it look effortless too, but we also know that was fabricated, and he definitely looked like unhealthy big. Aaron Judge is like a healthy big. He is very proportional to what his size is. You can tell that he is not, doing anything that he wouldn't be supposed to be. He's putting out that pure power. That's him. Even though he put on a great show last night, though, there was a lot of gripes I have with this home run derby, though.
And we'll get to that in a minute. But Dan Beebe, who did you think was going to win the home run derby?
I also had my money on Aaron Judge. I thought, this was kind of going to be a no contest, and it really turned out to be. Probably the biggest surprise I saw the whole night was Justin Bour with his first round 22 home runs.
Okay, the only Bour I want to talk about is going to be Niels Bohr, who was the person that boron, the element, is named after. Although, I will also accept Boar's Head because they make delicious turkey.
No,
that's a fact, that last part for sure. I was surprised by Bohr because he's really come on this season and this season alone as a middle guy in the lineup for Miami. I didn't see him putting up a number that monstrous. Yeah. And not to mention, especially when all eyes are on Judge, he's the last one to go in the first round. I mean, what an opening act right before that.
As a Yankee fan and a Judge fan, before Judge got up, I was afraid. I did not think Judge was going to get out of the first round because of that performance.
It really seemed to come down to, and this might be foreshadowing something in the future as far as these two teams go, but Miami having those two guys, Yankees having Judge and Sanchez, this might even be a potential future World Series. I mean, you figure these guys will set the tone for their teams and maybe even take over like a leadership spot.
Do you mean this year or at some point in the future?
Maybe probably not this year. I mean, the Yankees are looking good, but I think for Miami, they got a couple more key pieces that they just need to fill in, and they're going to be right up there at the top.
I wouldn't necessarily disagree with it. I think there's a possibility. I mean, the Yankees need to address their pitching situation, and they're going to be right in the heat of things because you can't really beat their bats. I mean, the same can be said for Miami. I mean, they've got good batting. It's just, I mean, obviously, unfortunately, with Hernandez's passing last year, it kind of set them back even further because they were building on their pitching. Now they have to really go back at it.
Right.
Yeah, it's always unfortunate when something like that happens, especially, not that, older players' lives aren't valuable, especially someone that's so young.
Yeah, no, he was really young.
Yeah, he would undoubtedly be playing tonight. He might even be starting tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
If he was still here.
He was definitely the ace of their team, and they lost a huge chunk from that. That's more than a rebuild. That's an emotional loss on top of now trying to find a replacement for someone you didn't expect to replace.
Yeah, you expected to have him locked up and be part of that. I mean, Bohr is a pleasant surprise. I don't know if they expected they were going to get what they got out of him this early. but they really wanted to. It looked like they wanted to build behind Hernandez and behind Stanton for a while, and unfortunately that took a little bit of a drop off. But I mean, I could see where your thought process is, and that maybe highlighting what's to come in the future, because New York's going to have those kids for a long time. They're not going anywhere. Judge could actually. The other thing, after seeing this, I was saying this. Judge could win the next 5 home run derbies if he wanted, without even breaking a sweat. In my opinion.
Easy. What was kind of humbling even last night is like they asked him once he won in the interview, they're like, "Do you think he'll come back next year and try to defend?" He's like, "Oh, well, we'll see."
I also Cody Bellinger's commentary last night when he was going up against Judge. They asked him, they're like, "Did you like it? Would you come back and do it?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'd come back and do this event." He's like, I had fun participating in it, and I would enjoy it. He's like, I'll tell you what, though, if Judge is going to be in the event, I'm coming to this event every year. I'm invited.
Yeah.
Cody Bellinger was someone that put up, an exciting moment last night too. He was short, he was short 1 home run. He had to hit another home run. He had 4 seconds left. He didn't have the 440 second home run he needed to get the extra 30 seconds. And then with 4 seconds left, hit another home run, which was 441 or 442.
Oh, yeah, and
got the extra 30 seconds and ended up winning the round.
To go on and face Mike Judge or Aaron Judge and get
Mike Judge.
Consolation prize, Mike Judge.
Mike Judge, yes.
I was actually having a conversation about King of the Hill earlier today.
Perfect.
In Silicon Valley. So,
well, I mean that makes sense. We talk about Mike Judge, then you bring up King of the Hill, which brings us back to Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
So
it all comes around.
Actually, it seems like instead of him being the king of the hill, he's the king of the guys on the hill.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, right now, yeah. It's hard to argue that. He's leading the MLB in home runs and a lot of other statistical categories.
I mean, there's a possibility of him getting, if he can keep it consistent, end a season as a rookie with the Triple Crown.
And, honestly, from what I've seen, he doesn't even need to be all that consistent, and he could still do it.
Yeah.
He just needs to put in some effort. It's like
he increased his batting average significantly from last season.
Well, last season he was batting 174.
Yeah, I was going to say.
He was only there temporarily, but at the same time, even in the minors, he definitely made drastic changes to his swing. You
can see that his swing, his patience is there.
Yeah.
Because he's not swinging at everything like he was last year.
Yeah, I think I read something that in all of minor league baseball, he swung at the most first pitches of any player in minor league baseball.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, he wasn't connecting solid with the ball last night, and they were still leaving the park.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he can miss on his swing, and there's a chance it's leaving.
I mean, I want to see if he could bunt a home run.
He probably can. Mark Teixeira was sitting he was sitting there, announcing, and he was saying that that's a miss for anyone else. That's a miss for anyone else. And it's like, tipped off the top of the bat, and it's still going out. It's just like going right over the wall.
It's like a video game.
Yeah, it's incredible.
No.
Yeah, it is a video game. It's incredible.
But
when you have the players in the batting practice, these are all-stars standing in outfield, watching the ball hit the ceiling, and they're talking amongst themselves like, did you just see what he did?
That was one of the problems I had. That's one of the problems I had. Last night, he hit the ceiling. If at the stadium, they counted it as a home run. But they didn't count it as a home run officially.
And it's actually on TV as we're talking about it.
So he hits what he thinks is 23, which was really 22 to tie it. He had like 7 seconds left, jumps back in the batter's box because he had walked away thinking he had won, got back in the batter's box, and just quickly blasted another home run to move on to the next round.
Yeah, because for him it's no big deal. It's like going to the kitchen and getting a glass of water.
But how does that not count as a home run? It was easily well over 400 feet. It would have definitely gone out. I definitely want to know how far that ball really would have gone.
Well, I wonder because they didn't really like explicitly state to us all of the rules. Maybe that was something that was explained to the batters.
Oh, no. There's another rule that I did not care for. If a player wants to exhaust himself to get as many home runs as possible, let the pitcher keep on pitching. I don't see why the ball has to land first.
Right.
To have a batter hit the next ball. They can count home runs. It was Aaron Judge could have lost because of how far and high his balls were going as compared to like Bohr, who we were talking about, that was getting
line drives.
Line drives right over the field real quick, getting another pitch. And it's like, how about you just even out the playing field and let them just keep on going? Don't let the ball have to land
Well,
first.
I think what they could do, sorry to cut you off, Dan Beebe, is